Find the equation of the line given the following. So for example A, they give us the slope and they give us a point that's on the line. So we can use the point-slope formula to solve this problem. I've written the point-slope formula here above in green. So basically we have to take the point and plug it into the formula along with the slope m, and that will then produce the equation of the line. All right, so the formula says y minus y sub 1 is equal to m times x minus x sub 1. So this y and this x will remain variables, but the ones with the subscript are the ones where we plug the point into. Okay, so we'll have y minus 3 is equal to m, which is 2, times x minus negative 2. So minus minus will make a positive. So we'll have y minus 3 is equal to 2 times x plus 2. Okay, so from here we can just write the equation in general form by basically saying y minus 3 is equal to 2x plus 4. All right, so to put the equation in general form, we want to move the variables to one side and the numbers to the other. So for example, I could subtract 4 from both sides, right? And I could subtract y from both sides. Let's see what that would do for us. The y's would cancel out here. I'd end up with negative 7 is equal to 2x, the 4's would cancel out, minus y. And then just to kind of write this in sort of a more traditional format, we'll say that means we have 2x minus y is equal to negative 7. So I just put the variables first on the left-hand side. All right, and that's it. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to solve example B then. So for example B, we don't have a point and a slope, but we have 2 points which can be used to get a slope, and then we can use one of those points with the slope to use the point-slope formula. So let's go ahead and get the slope first. Remember that your slope formula is m is equal to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. In other words, the difference between the y's divided by the difference between the x's. Okay, so if this is x1, y1, and this is x2, y2, then the formula will become 5 minus 4 over 1 minus a negative 3. So that'll give you 1, and then 1 plus 3, which of course gives you 1/4. So that's your slope, 1/4. So with the slope of 1/4, we can then use that in the point-slope formula. So we'll have y minus y sub 1 is equal to m times x minus x sub 1. Now, we labeled the first point x1, y1, but it really doesn't matter what point we use. I'm going to use the second point here, the 1, 5, because I like the fact that both of the numbers are positive. So we'll have y minus 5 is equal to 1/4 x minus 1. Okay, so I just plugged in that second point into the point-slope formula along with the slope we found. And now from here, we just want to distribute and then write it into general form. So we can distribute the 1/4 if we want. That's very easy. We can just do 1/4 times x, which gives you 1/4 x, and then 1/4 times 1, which is going to give you negative 1/4. And on the other side, we have just y minus 5. Now from here, we probably want to get rid of the fractions, so we're going to multiply everything in the equation by the least common denominator, which in this case would be 4. Or in other words, we're going to multiply both sides of the equation by 4. Okay, so let's do that work up here. So we'll have 4 times y minus 5 is equal to 4 times 1/4 x minus 1/4. All right, so the 4 multiplies by y to give you 4y. The 4 multiplies by negative 5 to give you negative 20. And then it'll be equal to, here the 4 will multiply here to cancel out with the denominator, just giving you 1x. And then the 4 will multiply there to give you 4 times 1/4, or in other words, minus 1, right? Because 4 times 1/4 is just 1. All right, from there, we just want to write it in general form, so we're going to try to bring the variables to one side, the numbers to the other. So I might want to, for example, move the y over here and move the 1 over there to the other side, right? So for example, I would have a negative 1 moving to the left-hand side, becoming a positive 1. And I'll have minus 20, and that's equal to x, and if I move the 4y over, it's going to become negative 4y. So I'll end up having 1 minus 20, which is negative 19, and that'll be equal to x minus 4 times y. And then of course, written in the kind of traditional way of putting the variables on the left, it'll be x minus 4y is equal to negative 19. All right, let's go ahead and tackle then example C, the last example then. So for example C, we have a slope and we have a y-intercept. So the slope is nice, but the y-intercept, the way they've written it, is not a complete point. So what we want to do is just turn that into a complete point. How do you end up with a y-intercept? Well, you plug 0 in for x, remember that? Which means that the y-intercept as a point is actually 0x and then 4 for y, right? So it means the point that's the same as the y-intercept is actually 0, 4. All right, so we have a point and we have a slope. Let's go ahead and use the formula then. So the formula says y minus y sub 1 is equal to m times x minus x sub 1. So just substitute now. The y minus y sub 1, well, the y here is just 4 in that point, and that's equal to m, which is 1/3, times x minus the x coordinate of the point, which is just 0, right? And then from there, that's nice because it'll be y minus 4 is equal to 1/3 x, because x minus 0 is just x, right? And then we can basically multiply both sides of the equation by 3 to get rid of the denominator. So we'll do 3 times the left. So y minus 4 is equal to 3 times 1/3 x. All right, and that will simplify to essentially 3y minus 12 is equal to just x. And then from there, we just want to bring the y over to meet the x, right? Again, when it crosses this line, it changes the sign. So we're going to end up having negative 12 is equal to x minus 3y. And rewritten so the variables are on the left, we have x minus 3y is equal to negative 12. And that's our answer.